Sex workers of Reddit. What is the worst request a client has given you? I had a guy once ask me to just lay completely still. He did the same. Blinked kinda hard when he came. And was done. Stared into my eyes the whole time. The most awkward frick of my life. But at least I got paid. I haven't had too many bad experiences, but I did get a pretty unique request. So I do online work. I had a guy sexting me one day who told me sponges turn him on. The word sponge. The smell of one. Touching one. Doing dishes. All of it. So we role played like I was washing dishes, and I sent him a little video of me cleaning with a sponge, like look how soapy and sudsy my sponge is getting. I'm trying to clean up, but I'm just making such a mess, and he ate that poop up. It's nice to get something completely brand new every once in a while, lol. Plus I was getting chores done at the same time. I punched a pillow as hard as I can for an hour. While saying his mom's name. It was definitely arm day that day. I'm so freaking normal. So I have a genuine fear of balloons, latex balloons specifically. I've posted about it jokingly online. But for the most part it's not widely known. A man messaged me a few months back asking for feet pictures. And I was super excited that it had finally happened to me. I used to get so jealous of girls that would be asked for feet pics and turn them down like honey, send them my way. Turns out, he has a foot fetish, but he's also a loner. He has a balloon fetish. I thought it was a friend pranking me at first. But he was legit. He knows about my fear of balloons. So we've settled on using a beach ball as a compromise. Every few months, I hump a beach ball fully clothed for a minute or two and make big money $$$$$$$$$$$$$$. One guy used to want me to make him special goo in a spoon and then feed it to him. That was weird. Another guy kept insisting that I tell him that I love him. That just made me sad. I now wonder if I'm good looking enough to make money pooping on people off of Craigslist. Thanks, Reddit. I sold foot pics videos Skype sessions a few years ago. Before the market became absolutely flooded. I had a lot of people asking for me to stomp on small animals, bugs, mice, reptiles, etc. That's against my moral code. And icky. So I never did it, but even if I was willing to do it, they wouldn't pay very much for it. Also saw some messages from a friend I made in the business where some French dude asked her to cut off a toe and sell it to him. So he could eat it. Not sure if he was just trolling, but honestly I would not be surprised if he was serious. Or of course there's the people who asked if I had any naughty photos of myself from before I turned 18. After reading some of the stuff I got a negative boner. He had a load of big black heads and dilated paws of whiners on his back, and he asked me to pop them and eat them. I declined. This same guy liked being pissed on, being puked on, and sticking his fingers up my nose and eating my snot. Also one guy asked me to poop in his mouth. Nope. Some weird ones. One client had a foot fetish and would spend his 45-minute session putting bulldog clips on the underside of my feet. It was pretty painful, but I got paid well and didn't have to do anything physical with him. In the intro room the client told me he wasn't looking for anything physical but asked if I would walk on his back. Easy, I'm in. Go into the booking, and what he actually wanted was for me to walk on his back in stilettos. Engraven, fake, initials onto his chest with my heel. Stomp on his genitals. Walk on his face. Spit on and demean him. It was actually one of the most horrendous things I ever did. I'd rather frick a creepy old dude than ever take a booking like that again. I had a guy book an appointment. The screening and everything leading up to the appointment was totally normal. A few important things to note: he and I were about the same age, late 20s, and I do not advertise fetish. My brand is pretty much girl next door. I arrive. We chat a bit. Then suddenly he asks me to roleplay. things escalate quickly as he wants me to be his stepmother and torture his balls. That appointment ended quickly. Not a hanky-panky worker, but I used to live close to a gogaba in Thailand. I would eat in the same places as the workers there. Countless stories about men wanting to defecate on them or them doing it on the customers. One guy. He was very tall and wide. He rented all the girl in the club and the Amazon. Must have been 15 or so. They just had to lie next to him and cuddle for the whole night. Gave all of them a huge tip. Came in every night for 2 weeks. The bonus for me was that the place closed early and I did not have to listen to the crappy music every night. My friend is, and she has a regular client who asks that she spits orange juice in his eyes. Some guy wanted my friend to shove a cucumber up his ass. He paid her £500 for a 20-minute stunt with the cucumber. She did it gladly but was kinda concerned for the guy. Not a hanky-panky worker, but I had a guy ask me if I could get my dental records and read them to him. He also wanted to tell him how much pain was involved with my procedures. Another time, right in the midst of things, he asks if he can cath me. Frick, I was out of there. $2,000 to send a vid of me having hanky-panky W my dog. My mom used to be a hanky-panky worker, and one time this guy wanted her to stab a hamster to death with a syringe. He provided the hamster and syringe in front of him. She stole the hamster and his money without doing it. I work with a 94-year-old dementia patient. He wants to pay me $100 to just lick my big titties just once, sit in his lap, motorboat my titties, just let me play with you a little. Not a hanky-panky worker, but he makes me feel like one. Edit. Thank you for the 4 awards, I am non-deserving of them. You're all too kind. To go to Starbucks. Ask for a cup. Pee in it. Leave it there for him to drink it. 2k. Most guys were very normal. They wanted to be pegged or have me dressed up. But this one, OMG. I died laughing when he texted me what he wanted. Edit. Also, the professor at a very well-known university in the US used to make me meet him and give him my underwear. 100 per pair. And then at the Target we'd meet, I'd buy some more, lol. Co-worker used to work with a guy who was into scat. Except this scat involved a glass table. Apparently he liked the woman to sit on top of the glass table and poop while he laid under it and beat off. Living in Athens. Working for peanuts. I lived in a cheap apartment in a seedier part of town. I got to meet all the neighbors over the time I was there. The lady in the basement was running a brothel. She was usually the only one working. Every Sunday 3 men, an old man, a middle-aged and young man, would rock up and sit outside her door. One day, when we got on familiar enough terms, I asked her, "How come you entertain these 3 same time every week?" She said it was a tradition among some Greek families. This one in particular, that son, father and grandfather would call into a brothel and have hanky-panky on their way home from church. They were sharing the same prostitute. I don't know whether it is generally a tradition or not, but it was with this family. I knew a guy who started doing foot fetish work on Craigslist because he had huge feet. He'd go to someone's house and they would worship and play with his feet while they jerked themselves off. No actual hanky-panky involved. Then it escalated to where he started pissing on customers. Then one day a man asked to get pooped. It was a nice sum of money. So the guy lay down on the floor while my friend crouched over him and dropped a hot, slippery turd in the guy's mouth. A guy wanted me to sell him videos of me pooping as well as sell him my actual poop and amp, piss in a jar. It would have been an over $1,000 job, but no way could I do it. Also was asked to sell a video of my boyfriend peeing on my face and in my mouth. Said no to that one too. I dom online. Well, one client really gets off on the whole human toilet thing and it's going fine, I guess. Make him lick toilets. Degrading him. Make him film himself so I can show other doms and they can all laugh at him cause he gets off on that poop, pun intended. Boo-hoo, then he requests that I poop in a jar and mail it to him so he can eat it. So anyway. I know that's not incredibly wild, but it's the one that sticks out in my mind. Reddit makes me believe that hanky-panky workers never actually have hanky-panky with their clients. They just beat their balls and poop on them. I have a friend who blew an old, fat and stinky guy for a PS1 when the PS2 was already out. Too much poop going on in this thread. I used to know a hanky-panky worker and she used to say that the most common weird thing she gets, which is actually really common, is guys wanting her to bend over naked and fart in their face. Not a hanky-panky worker, but once dated a guy into spicy stuff. It got so spicy he wanted me to agree to be bundled up in his car boot while he drove me out into the forest and watched me dig my own, pretend, grave while he held me at, pretend, gunpoint. I declined. I'd found my limit. The scary part was that I asked him, so what are you going to do when that isn't enough, and he replied, dunno. Haven't got past this bit yet, but I do know I have a problem. Ex-sex worker but stepchild poop for sure king-wise. But honestly, any hanky-panky worker will tell you the worst request is constantly being asked to have an safe hanky-panky or compromise your worth. It's the absolute worst part. At this rate, hanky-panky workers of Reddit should do AMA every week. Had a 20-something Japanese man with Yakuza tattoos ask me, a Beacons of Gonda level white woman, to step on him and call him all sorts of extremely racist names. We spoke about what he wanted prior, and although he specifically asked for these terms and paid extra because it was so offensive, I still feel kind of you when I think about. The least offensive was along the lines of calling him my little bitch slave to white queen. He clearly had a very big race kink. Gorgeous tats too. I actually set up this account to mostly sell pics of my feet, but progressed to tights, panties and a few videos, so not a full-time hanky-panky worker, but made some money from this kind of thing. Anyway, there was one guy who always wanted to buy my used tampons. He specifically wanted them as fresh as possible. Oh, and another guy always sent messages about videos of me sitting on balloons and bouncing on them until they popped. Not a bad one, just random. I figured in the end that if you can think of any fetish, then there is someone out there that has it. A doctor friend of mine told me about a patient that comes in at least once a month to have a potato removed from his ass. This is all the info I have. And more than I want. Not a hanky-panky worker, but my ex was. An old guy used to come in occasionally and pay to be walked around on a leash like a dog, and at the end of the night he'd take home all of the used condoms and suck each one clean. I'm not even kidding. I put on my robe and wizard hat. A guy asked me to put cat poop in my ass. I declined and I quit camming soon after. That request made me question everything. I don't even have a cat. Gay couple here. We do live cam sessions. Sometimes we get private requests for fetish sessions. No problem. One guy was really into flip-flops. Wanted us to do a full hanky-panky session with flip-flops on. Easy. Except we got into the session and he kept sending messages. Put your feet flat on the table so I can see them. So we get into this really awkward penetrative position trying to keep our feet flat on the coffee table. Then whenever we'd move our feet in the slightest, he'd be like, feet flat on the table. Then he complained about the expense after. That was cute. There's a guy on here a year or so ago who says he wants to hire someone to murder him while he has hanky-panky. It turns him on that much. I wonder if he ever fulfilled his dream. He also said his upbringing was completely normal. Great childhood. It's just his kink, extreme pain and sex. While in Thailand, I knew a guy that paid a lady of the night to give her a massage. She looked really uncomfortable with him massaging her shoulders. Can't really describe the cringe. A mature woman wanted me to frick her in the ass while she talked on the phone with her son. I tried being a sugar baby for a short while but ended up giving up due to me realizing that pretty much the only people contacting me were married and cheating on their wives. I realized that I was old enough to be some of these men's daughters, 21 at the time, and I just couldn't do it in good conscience. Plus the pay was never what I expected, but at least I got some nice sushi lunch dates and one guy gave me an Amazon gift card, so that was a plus lol. With that, asked me to tell him I loved him. He was so hot, NGL probs, the most physically attractive person I've ever been with. But it was weirdly too intimate and I never saw him again.
Hi there. Look, if you enjoyed the video, well, why not go ahead and hit that like and subscribe to Reddit Stories. In fact, if you want to see even more responses to this thread, well then, take a look. There's the link in the description below. And remember, show some love to those authors while you're there. And I look forward to seeing you next time.